want to show you today how you can create a simple mockup on a shirt. You can use this to create like designs and stuff you can put on a shirt and show people like a realistic rendering of how the design will look like. We're going to be using this model's image I got from, I think, pexels.com, and this is way more effective than having to download a mockup and use it, because you obviously will learn all the techniques, the basic and the simple techniques that you want to use in order to achieve designs or mockups on a shirt, right? And you can use this for a handful of other things, not just a shirt. But today we're going to be using a shirt to do this. So without wasting much time, let's start. So I have my picture, and the next thing I want to do is I want to create a logo on the shirt. I want to put a logo on the shirt and blend it in with the shirt to make it look like it is actually part of the fabric of the shirt, right? And to do that, the first thing I have to consider with this image is that it is really dark. I want to place a logo on the black side of the shirt, on the singlet. So let me just do a little bit of zooming in, and you can see how dark the shirt is. So the contrast is a bit too much. So we are going to make a duplicate of this image and try to lighten it up a bit. So select the background and press Ctrl J. Once you do that, you have an extra layer of the same image, and then go on the blend mode. Under the blend mode, select that normal and change it to something like screen. Right, lighting is cool, but screen is the best. So when you do screen, you're going to notice more of the image come out now. So with this, you just press enter to register that, and then select your shift and select the background and press Ctrl E to join them together. After applying screen and combining them together using Ctrl E, you will now have a lighter version of the same image. And then next thing we want to do is to introduce our logo. Let's go to our folder, and for me, I have this logo called Quick Search. I'm going to use it, so I'm going to drag it all the way into Photoshop and just place it right on top of the shirt, and I'll adjust the size. Immediately you place it, you see transformation controls around the image, so adjust it to the size you'd like and then position it where you'd want it to be. In my case, I just want it to be in the center here, and I'm looking at the image. The model seems to be like tilted a bit, so I'm going to tilt the logo a bit, like rotate it. So right click and say rotate, and I'll just rotate it just a little bit, like so. Now rotate it just a little bit, like so, and then I'll press enter. I like the size of the logo. It looks a bit big though, so let me just reduce it a little bit. I'll press Ctrl T again to transform, and reduce the size just a little bit from one side, like so. Yeah, I think this size looks nice. And we've placed it. So this is the basic thing you need to do. Bring your logo in, place it where you want it to be. But now the logo is just there, and it looks very flat, and it's uninteresting. And you can look, if we zoom into the image, you can see that the picture has, you can see that the image of the shirt has, the singlet has like rough textures, while the logo is very smooth. So we have to match the logo to the roughness of that shirt. So to do that, you could just select, this is not very necessary right now, but you could just do that. So you can select the logo icon, then go to your filter menu, and under the filter menu you can find your noise. You could decide to just add noise, or you could just go down to filter gallery. On filter gallery, you could go to your texture menu under the filter gallery and select green, and just add a little bit of green. I think 40 intensity, contrast 50 is okay. Just press OK, and then if you zoom in, you're going to notice that the logo now has a bit of noise and texture around it, so it's matching the shirt for that. But there's still something happening here. The logo is very straight, while the cloth has a couple of contours. So to achieve that contour is our next target. And for some people, they might just decide to use Ctrl T on the logo. Might just decide to press Ctrl T, which is to transform, and then with the transformation control, you right click and say warp. Now the thing with warp is you have to manually adjust the logo to fit the roughness or the contours on the shirt. With this you could still achieve something really cool, but I wouldn't advise you to do this right now. There is a simpler method, or rather a more direct method you can use to achieve this. I could do this and have the logo looking like it's actually contoured, but you might not get something perfect. So let's go for something really simple. For us to achieve this, first of all, we have to hide this logo. So let's come to the eye icon beside the logo layer and click on it to hide it. Then go back and select your background layer On your background layer, we go to the channels. We are currently on layers, so click on the channels and locate the darkest or the most contrasting channel. If you look at the red channel, it's the green channel and the blue channel. I think the blue channel looks more contrasting, right? So we'll use the blue channel for this. So select the blue channel, then right click on the blue channel and say duplicate channel. And as you're duplicating this channel, you create a new document for it. So under document, select it and click new, and then say OK. And once you've done that, you've created a new channel. Now this channel that you have here, you might want to add a little bit more contrast. So to do that, you could press Ctrl L maybe to use the levels, or just do a little bit of contrast increment like so. This looks cool. And then say OK. And then the last thing you need to do is you could just go to select your filter menu and then go to blur and then go to Gaussian blur and just add a little bit of blur to it. Let's say a blur of 2.9 or a blur of 3 or something, depends, just to make it a little bit blurry, just a little bit, and say OK. And then save this, your Control S, and save it as you can just call it my displace, just to remember it because it's a displacement, whatever, and save it in a folder you remember. You could close it now and then go back to the main layer. Then let's go back to the layers menu again and reopen the logo that we have. So when you're on the channels, you've enabled everything by clicking on the RGB channel. You go back to your layers, and under your layers you go to the background, and then you select your logo quick search icon, which is in this case is what I am trying to blend here. You select it, then you go to your filter menu. Under filter menu you go to distort. Under distort you go to displace, and under displace you just select a displacement. By default Photoshop is going to give you a 10x10 displacement. Let's try that 10x10. If the number doesn't give you what you want, you can always undo this and try with different numbers until you get something really cool. And then so let's say OK. Now you're trying to displace, but it's asking you for the map, right, that it's going to displace with. So look for the one you created. So I'll just go to my displace and then I'll say OK. And with my displace, you can see it's actually displaced the file to kind of like tweak it to match the shirt. I don't really see what I really want here, so I'm going to try again. I'll press Ctrl Z, and I'll do a couple of I'll keep repeating this till I get something I really like. I want to do something as well, so let's go to file, let's open recent, let's open my displace again, and let's try to blur it a bit. Let's save this. Let's come back here and let's do filter, blur, distort, displace. First of all, I want to make sure that it's at the center of the shirt and that the rotation that we applied is all right. So the rotation is, I want to make sure the rotation is all right. All right, so let's go filter, distort, displace, and let's just hit, let's try 5x5, so let's use the normal 10x10 again. All right, so this looks okay. You can see it's bending in at that point. So yeah, so with this the next thing we want to do is, let's just zoom in and see. So it's kind of like bent it in a bit to match the shirt. The next thing we want to do here is we want to take I want to add a blend right to this. You can see right here we have the roughness and everything, but it still doesn't feel like it's part of the fabric, right? It still feels like it's alien to the fabric. Wow, we've tried to make it blend. So the last thing we want to do is to use a blend mode. Alright, now the blend mode. Last one is use our blending options. So select that same logo icon, go down here to effects, click on it and go to blending options. And on the blending options, you want to select you want to come down here to the blend if portion. We have this layer which represents the logo, then we have the underlying layer which represents the shirt, right? So the image rather. So for the underlying layer you can pull, or for this layer you can also pull, depending, you can pull the black and then it begins to blend in. Can you see that? At a point it begins to blend in, begins to take it in. But you notice that because you're dragging it too much, it's blending in whole, whole. So you don't want to have, you could do this with the top layer or the bottom layer. You could do adjustments to get something really perfect. So you don't want to drag everything. You want to split this cursor, this slider, you want to split it into two so you can have a more gradual blending process. So you could do from this layer and blend the darks, the blacks in, or you could do from the underlying layer, whichever one you want to do. You could try it. So just hold your alternate and click on that slider and then grab one part of it and move it, and then it begins to shade out, begins to expose the black a bit, so you begin to see some of the black. You can keep it somewhere decent, like here. You could drag this one too, bring it in. Both of them are together now. Hold alternate and split again. You drag this. You could also come down here on the white and split it with your alternate and drag the white, one of the white sliders out. You can see that, so it's beginning to look like it's blending. You could drag the other one as well. And yeah, you can see some portions of the fabric is beginning to shine through, right? So this begins to make it look like it's actually part of the fabric. Now at this point, you're almost done with what you're trying to achieve. Now, the next thing you want to do here is you want to, let's just click on this tiny arrow to lock all the effects we've applied. The next thing you want to do here is you might decide to say, oh well, I think, well, this looks cool. I mean, it looks like the logo is on the shirt, though the bottom side is a bit too shiny. This area is a bit too shiny for it to be on the shirt, and I don't think it's really blending in. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create a blend mode, right? I think a blend mode is also going to help us solve this issue of this one being too light here. So we can just go to our blending mode here and then select it and do something like overlay. If you do overlay, you're going to notice that it actually blends into the fabric like 100%, and you're only getting to see the shades of color, right? It takes away the light, the extra light. Some people will decide not to use it. Some people decide to use color, which is almost similar. It takes away the luminosity, right? So it leaves just the color on the fabric. So because the fabric doesn't have too much metallic color or shiny color like the logo, you need something to match that too. So we are trying to kill the metallic color of the fabric. So you can use color, you can use overlay. Let's use overlay because it maintains a little bit of lightness. Or you could try some other ones. You could try multiply. It doesn't do that. It takes away everything totally. So we should just let's use overlay. Then do overlay, press enter. But you notice it kills the color too much, and you need to bring the color out a little bit. So you could do Control J for that, and use another overlay on it, and you see how it brings it out. You could still use you could still try something like let's see. I guess something that really works. Overlay is this, soft light is here. Personally, I feel like the overlay effect is best on this. Let's see color. So the overlay effect is the best. So you do another overlay on it, and then you could do a third one if you need it to pop out more. And for this one, you could probably introduce a soft light, or still use the overlay and then reduce the opacity to because I think it's taking out the details now. So reduce the opacity to like 16 or something like that, something close, something like here for the 3%. And so I think at this point you have 3 overlaid images and a very good effect. You can see that it actually looks really cool on the shirt right now, the mock-up. So you could do something like this, and you can notice that the shiny color is out and everything kind of like blends in. You can see that it really, the displacement map helps us bend out the logo to follow the the curves and contours on that area of the shirt, and then the rest of the stuff is done with the overlay blend mode, right? So we have a couple of them. You could select all of them and just put them in a group, like Control G, like that. You could call your group, you just call your group logo, and that is basically how you can achieve this effect on or creating a mock-up on a shirt. With this, you have a very dope effect on a shirt. You export your design, you just go to file, go to export for quick export. You can quickly export your design. You could give it any name. You could just call it mock-up design, mock-up model. It could be a model, it could be a merch, it could be anything you have, like your logo or your merch, and then you export this. You just export it as PNG. Let's export it to document, to exports, and export folder, and just call it mockup model and export. And yes, you're done. So we could go to mockup, we could go to our pictures folder, we go to exports. We're already there, I think. Just type mockup model, and we can find our mockup model here, and you can see that shirt, right? You can see that model, you can see that mockup looking very natural on that shirt, right? And then nobody will actually spot the fact that it was a mockup, obviously, except the Photoshop gurus, right? So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up and drop a comment, and you can make your request as well on the comment section, and I'll be on hand to reply you and take your request and turn them into a video.